Okay. Welcome to the Finance and Audit Commission September 11th special meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with Finance and Audit Commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating in the downtown conference room and participating remotely. First order of business is I'd like to introduce staff and Finance and Audit Commission members present. Commissioner Albright. Here. He's still getting these names. Commissioner Altman. Commissioner Emery. Here. Commissioner Doughton. No, absent. Commissioner Milan, did I get his name right?
Yeah.
And Commissioner Roberta. Yes. And And staff include Administrative Services Director Brittany Mello, Finance and Budget Manager Jared Hansen, Senior Accountant Ing Chen, and Management Analyst Adrian Petilan. Adrian, would you provide, please, instructions to the Finance and Audit Commission and members of the public on how this meeting will proceed?
Certainly. Thank you, Chair Day and members of the Finance and Audit Commission. Welcome everyone to the September 11th special meeting of the Finance and Audit Commission, and thank you for attending. Staff will engage in webcams and microphones to make presentations and to respond to members of the Finance and Audit Commission. For members of the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comment on an item on tonight's agenda, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak, virtual participants will engage in the raised hand feature at the bottom of the screen. Those who are calling in from either a cell phone or from a landline will press *9. And if you are in person, you will complete a speaker card at that table and return that to me. That concludes the instructions, and I return the meeting to the chair.
Under regular business, the Finance and Audit Commission considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters and administrative actions that require Finance and Audit Commission approval. So our first business today is recommending a 25-26 work plan to the City Council. And Analyst Patino, would you please introduce this item?
Right. Thank you, Chair. All right, so tonight we're here to recommend a work plan for the fiscal year 2025-26 to the City Council. So provide a little bit of background. Advisory body work plans must be approved annually by the City Council by no later than September 30th of each year. And all of the advisory body work plans are scheduled to be reviewed at the September 30th City Council meeting. The current work plan was approved by the City Council last year at its September 24th, 2024 meeting. A little bit of background on the Finance and Audit Commission role. The goal of the Finance and Audit Commission is to support the delivery of timely, clear, and comprehensive reporting of the city's fiscal status to the community at large, with specific focus areas, including things like review of periodic financial reporting to the City Council, review of the financial audit, review of the annual financial report, review of resolution of prior audit findings, and review of auditor selection process and scope as needed. So the current work plan for the commission includes 11 goals. They're listed here on the screen. They include some of the items that were kind of previously mentioned under the commission's kind of core goals of transparency around financial performance, with things like the review of the investment policy and the investment portfolio reports, as well as audit matters with review of the annual independent auditor's report, review of the annual comprehensive financial report, as well as some other goals that prior iterations of this commission have taken up, either through their own interests or through City Council direction, with items such as the OpenGov transparency portal improvements, and identifying potential financial benchmarks. So at this time, the staff is not proposing any changes to this work plan. The one kind of update is to the second work plan goal, which is just changing the fiscal year for the audit to 2024-25 from 2023-24, since that will be the focus of this upcoming audit this year. And with that, the next steps for the commission in this process are to review the proposed work plan and recommend a work plan for city council approval. The city council will then consider that proposed work plan at its September 30th meeting. Once the city council approves the work plan, staff will bring that back to the commission at the next FAC meeting for receipt by the commission. So that concludes my brief presentation, and I return the meeting to the chair.
So any clarifying questions from any of the commissioners before we take public comments? Adrian, do we have any public comments?
All right, if you would like to comment on agenda item C1, recommend a 2025-26 work plan to city council. If you are logged in virtually, please engage the raised hand feature at the bottom of the screen. If you are dialing in from a cell phone or from a landline, please press *9. And if you are in person, please complete a speaker card and return that to me. I'm seeing no request for public comment at this time, so you may continue.
Okay, so we are now open for finance and audit commission discussion of the work plan.
I guess I have a couple of questions. So 1 to 5, if I understand it, those are things we have to do as commission. So
That's right.
they're not up for debate. We have to do those.
That's right.
And I guess 5, 6, and 11, those sound like one-off research pieces. I just want to get a sense for, since I'm new to the commission, they're holdovers from last year. Are they things that we didn't get to last year? Or are they things that's continuation of work? I just want to get a sense of the difference
Yeah,
from one
so-
year to the next.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. The last parts are the ones that the commission proposes, and then the next phase is for the city to recommend the work plan. Sorry, to approve the work plan, and they can choose to change the work plan. So this is the work plan as it's currently set from last year, inclusive of the ones recommended by the commission. Okay. I believe we can go and, propose to change any of them that we'd like to, and that's part of the discussion. Regardless, it would have to, go on September 30th approval and come back as approved for it to get finalized.
And that makes sense. I guess it's just like 5, 6, and 11. Like to understand whether we should keep them on the work plan, it'd be helpful to know what state they're in. Is it something that's continuing from last year or not? Trying to get a sense of that.
Yeah. Is it 5, 6,
Five
11?
is-
5 seems
Oh, sorry,
to
not
be,
that, 6,
Oh, yeah.
7, 11, sorry.
yeah, through 5 seems like.
Yes.
standard. Yeah. Oh,
Just like.
so is it just 6 and 11 they're talking about? or-
6, which is identify potential
Yeah.
financial
Yeah,
benefits. It sounded like
heard about that too,
piece,
yeah.
And then 7 was corporate improvements and training, and 11 is the research opportunity. So it sounds like one-off items, but sort of get a
Yeah.
sense of, is it continuing work? Or is it we didn't get to it last year, we had to start again this year?
I see 7 as open gov transparency portal improvement. Is that okay? So just open gov transparency portal improvements was started actually a few years ago, and that report was largely sort of a version of that report was completed. So that's work that's started out and is in a phase where we can sort of pick up from where it is and continue. The other ones, I would say we're not quite at the mature state, but I'd look to get cooperation from others.
Yeah, number 11, I know the subcommittee at one point had talked about successor agency debt because they had researched that and talked about it. Only have like 2 or 3 years left of payments on that. And then the tax base that goes to pay the successor agency debt currently would then just come into the city's general fund instead. There wasn't any particular findings or recommendations on that particular item. From what I'm remembering, in the past. As far as number 6 for the financial benchmarks, I don't believe that there's, at least in my time here, I have not had any report on that piece.
Seems like the investment team gave us their benchmarks.
I'm just wondering why it's not part of the annual review. I'm just surprised it's a separate item. I think there's something else. Like you said,
Maybe what I'd say is. Each of these work plans as, sounds like you probably all know, once they get approved. We have to make sure we build a subcommittee to work on them. The subcommittee meets separately and continues working on them. So it certainly reached the stage of the cities approving the idea when the previous commission met. I don't believe we were able to really get a subcommittee going to a place where we were able to create a report. The only one that we have, a report in its, format is for number 7. So maybe another way of saying is I can't directly answer the question of why it was not included. Underlined item, it could just have been, oversight, or it wasn't debated or discussed in the last committee.
One other observation in terms of kind of bucketing these into categories. 8, 9, and 10 similarly feel different than the others. They feel a little bit more about describing how the committee acts, like how we show up, how we encourage other people to show up. Which is a good thing to describe, but it doesn't feel like an action.
Yeah, it feels like a how as opposed to a what.
Yeah, so it's surprising to see that as like an annual work plan goal, when that's more, I think, just a.
it's hard to
Operating
define-
behavior.
it's hard to define what a deliverable is.
Yeah,
It's just, so what happens if we just remove those?
Yeah,
Just strike them.
not to say they're not important, they're just
No,
not really.
They're just
work-
values, they're values. Statement.
Yeah.
So, it's not a deliverable, right? It's not a work
Do you
plan.
recall the history of why it was, they
Yeah,
were included before, and whether they were included sort of for many years before?
no, we've had them probably just last year.
Maybe
Last 2 years,
Mhm.
last 2 years.
We noticed that other commissions were having similar outreach, transparency, engagement goals, and so we thought it wise to suggest that FAC have that opportunity as well, and so they were added then. The commission has full ability to propose whatever changes you would like to this. And then we will present that to the city council. And they may approve, amend, add, remove as they see fit to set your charge for the year. And then we would bring that back, but the commission has the ability to make whatever recommendations you feel necessary.
So
So
that's
if you,
actually, if I may build on that, sort of that triggers it, the EQC, for example, there are many mailing lists that they have, weekly coffee meets to discuss, issues around the city and, the environment and, a few other things that get sent out. So, which would, I guess, almost can cover all of 8, 9, and 10, but certainly 9. So that could be why, it started appearing in other commissions, and, we also thought that we would do that, but, certainly. As far as, I only follow the ones from EQC, because I see, I'm on the mailing list and I see, weekly coffees and so on, so forth, discuss matters around the city and environment, so. If as a collective, we say, hey, we want to attempt to do this, we can keep it, or we can, remove it.
I mean, it's admirable, but I mean, is it something actually measurable? I mean, like determine how much money you're putting into it.
I mean, it's certainly not written to be measurable.
Okay.
We, if we choose to keep it, we can, we also have the option to rewrite it to be measurable.
I think these are fine things to do, and there may be a good reason to keep them if we feel there's a problem solved. If, for instance, we're not getting,
There is no public comments, there is no public.
sorry,
participation.
maybe that is something to solve. But what I'm trying to get to is like, there could be a reason to keep them. If you think there's a problem to solve, then we keep them, but then we hold ourselves to account
Right,
and come back in a year and say,
just don't give a lip
did
service.
we, exactly. So I guess I think my leaning would be, it'd be useful to keep them, because maybe it is useful to get more people coming, providing public comments, and maybe, you know, as a new commissioner, I still don't feel 100% onboarded, so I'd like to be able to come back in 6 months and say, did we do that good or not? So my suggestion would be keep it, but
Keep all of them or keep one?
all three sound fine to me,
Okay.
like, keep them, but make sure that we are coming back in 6 months or 12 months and saying, did we do a good job? And if not, how can we improve on it? So that would be something to talk about, but I'm not saying this is a low priority, by the way. I'm not saying it's the highest priority.
What is the, I guess I'm confused as to what a work plan is. What is the purpose? Are these commitments to the city council as to what we're going to work on, deliver? Is it deliverables?
That's a really,
Or is it the reason we exist? I mean, if it's a work, it seems like if it's a work plan, it ought to be just the things that we think we can deliver for clarity and simplicity, and visibility, and just communication to the community as a whole. They can look at it and say, well, these are the 3 or 4 things these guys are doing.
so I would say, in my opinion, 1 through 5 are the reason we exist and why we were created as an independent audit commission.
Right.
You know,
And six,
the others were to say, hey, the other
six
things.
months in there. We can include it in the document. I mean, we can include it some, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, a statement of who we are.
Yeah.
But those aren't deliverables in terms of work.
Right, yeah, but these are, and therefore we will, I mean, and this is part of the city's process, the city will, you know, we have an investment policy and part of the process is requiring the Finance and Audit Commission approving it on behalf of, you know, sort of the citizens, you know, and, you know, for the other 4. The way maybe I think about sort of the reason OpenGov, you know, brought up, but, you know, when OpenGov became sort of, you know, something that's popular, saying, hey, should the Finance and Audit Commission make sure there's a better portal so that other people can see material? So that was the intent of it. So it's sort of going beyond the, you know, I'm not using the word sort of diminutive, the bare minimum legal to access.
But it sounds like web usability to me, and
Yeah, usability and access, you know, in some ways defined.
is that part of a finance and audit commission, or is it part of communications?
I think
It's up for you, yeah.
choose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying,
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, I don't, that's a deep, usability is a deep hole, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, and it's up to us to decide whether to take a portion of that on or not. And one way of looking at 8, 9, 10 is, you know, for any organization to live and sustain, the more, you know, or at least, you know, if you're able to, you know, sort of make sure that there's a good succession plan or there's a good understanding, then the body becomes sort of, you know, more organic in nature. And that's one reason, you know, for them to exist. Other measurables, we again, we can choose to make it measurable, but, you know, if not, I don't think, you know, to go back to, I think what we're all saying, it's, if we agree, we can choose to remove them.
Okay.
I have a question. I noticed in the report from last year, there were 2 items that the commission added, which then city council took out. Can you share the history of that? One was around downtown economic development, and the other was around I think like ideating around how to reduce expenses and increase revenues of the city. I saw those were on the list, they were Xed out. I heard city council talk about it. But as we think about what to take out and what to put in, I think understanding why those went in and came out might be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So at a meeting similar to this one, where the commission was working on their work plan, knowing it would go to city council, there was brainstorming and those 2 ideas came out of commission discussion. So we added them for council consideration at the dais. The city council decided to strike those. For those particular ones, they felt like those were the purview of the city council, and they wanted to keep those at this full city council level rather than delegating that to the commission.
Oh, okay. Would it be helpful if we read what they are? Did everyone see what they were?
It's because you want to bring them back.
Well, just so as we think of new things to put in, we don't do the exact same
Same
thing
thing,
again.
right.
Yeah, so they were, you'd say,
Research opportunities to increase diverse occupancy of commercial vacant downtown real estate to increase city revenues. And the other one was identify potential alternative revenue sources and potential expense mitigation opportunities.
Which we thought were awfully good ideas we were discussing.
Yeah.
last year.
yeah, so it's
And-
interesting.
and
to
they
think
don't
about
have
it
the work
as
with it.
scope.
Yeah.
Because I saw the discussion and it was out of scope because it was the city's purview, but then I don't think anyone did that over the last year. So I wonder if we should put them back in. And say, we had this idea,
Yeah.
you said it was not for us to do, but then no one did it.
But then no one did it, so
We'll
at
put it
least,
again.
at least it puts it on the table.
And what is commercial vacant downtown real estate? I mean, there's a whole measure right now to try to put,
Well, so-
low income housing on parking lots. Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about other vacant downtown real estate, so.
So that, when it was sort of discussed last year, it was sort of an open, idea saying, hey, is this something we should be considering and brainstorming, and should the city approve it, should we create a subcommittee to sort of continue working on this? We didn't go into any more particulars than that, because really, again, so it's almost like constructing an agenda and not necessarily sort of knowing all of what it will entail when, working on it.
Yeah, cause I just watched the discussion of it from last year, where, the assistant city manager said that the goal was to hire an economic development manager. At that time, which was now 12 months ago. And I think right now, the goal is to make that hire 12 months later. So it feels like it's like a good goal for someone to be focusing on.
Yeah, if I may, I think if the commission chose to put those back, I think they would be removed again.
Okay.
I mean, just to speak frankly, so the revenues, increasing revenues and expenditures, that's looking at how we balance the budget and how the city council creates and approves the budget every year. So I don't think that would be supported. The economic development is ongoing. I also oversee HR as the Administrative Services Director, so that recruitment was completed. And the process of reviewing candidates is underway, so hopefully we'll have a new economic development manager in the near term. In the meantime, we do have an interim economic development manager who has been serving over this past year. But what the city council chooses to assign staff for our work plans can, that's a fine act of balancing priorities. And so it, maybe last year wasn't the chance to tackle some of these items, as you're saying, maybe there weren't as much progress on some. Doesn't mean that wasn't a conscious decision to prioritize other items for staff to work on with limited staff capacity.
Yeah, okay, so we shouldn't put that one back in for sure. But that's helpful for thinking about what to put, what kinds of things to put in.
Yeah, that was helpful advice, thank you.
And just one other thing I'll point out too, that in the guidelines for commissions. It specifically says the responsibility for setting policy and allocating scarce city resources rests with the city's duly elected representatives, the city council. So
Perfect,
that's very clear
Those are
in the
the
guidelines that's city council responsibility as well.
yeah,
I understand is they would set it, that wouldn't stop the committee brainstorming ideas and suggesting ideas. That's what, that doesn't mean.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's their responsibility for setting that
Yes,
policy.
we have no power sources, yes.
And if I may, the city council may, at any point during the year, have an idea that they want to assign a commission and then send that back to a commission. So that's also a possibility that the work plan might be added to during the year.
I think that was how number 11 got on the list a few years ago. I wasn't
Oh.
here at the time, so I can't speak to that. I remember
It
there
was added at the
something
dais.
added.
It was added by the
Yeah.
city
It was-
council?
Correct.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, I thought there was, okay,
Yes.
I see.
That was a few.
Okay, so that was,
Yeah,
that was
and so,
different
and we
from-
did receive, yeah,
Okay.
as you were saying, we did receive commissioner reports on that and no recommended action came from that, so.
There are things we can add, things we can take off. Like,
Yeah.
should we go through our things we can take off?
Yeah, I was gonna, thank you, I was gonna suggest, should we just focus on what we agree to take off?
I guess I'd vote like 6, 7, 11, like it sounded, the way you were talking about it, is like 7's kind of done, is in maintenance mode, but not something I would think of as a main item to keep coming back to. 11 sounded as if it was close to being finished, so those sounds like things we could take off. And then the financial benchmarks, I think.
Sorry, 6, 7, 11, keep or take off?
7 take off.
7
11
take off.
And or 6, take off. And the financial benchmark sounds a bit subsumed anyway,
Right,
or we can ask for it to be covered
I would.
in another annual report, so we don't need a separate item on that, I don't think. So my suggestion would be 6 and 11, we can strike. And then obviously that gives us space to add something later on, that's my motivation.
Question is, what do you want to add?
Well, obviously.
Now I know what we can.
Let's have a backup question. The current work plan was the 24-25 work plan,
Yeah.
correct? That's,
Yeah, this is pretty much an impression of that, yeah.
what's the status? Which ones, is there a page that says these were actually completed? What was actually done? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we made,
Or we're all,
yeah, the one that we made the most progress on was number 7. Where there is a proposal, which is the open gov transparency. It's not completed,
most progress was number 7.
yeah.
I will just jump back, like conducting the annual review of the city's investment policy. That was
Sorry,
conducted at a commission meeting and went to the council.
So,
You-
done, right?
That one was
Okay.
done. But
Those
that's an
are annual
review.
charges.
So that's
But,
an
but,
annual-
but, well, yeah,
One
that's
through
what I'm
five,
saying.
one through five were done.
Just from a learning point of view.
Yes, 1 through 5
So
were
1
done.
was done, 2 is.
Two is
Done.
also,
Done,
because you reviewed the 3
Anything with the
4.
review is probably was done, right?
The
Yeah.
quarterly, we reviewed the quarterly,
yeah,
reviewed the independent auditors report and the
Okay.
comprehensive financial report last year. So that was, those are all done and those are all annual.
Cool, 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 cool.
Or quarterly in case of the.
Oh. And then
yeah,
6.
without those done, the city council's job wouldn't be done.
Sure,
Yeah.
6 was done.
No.
So 6 was open.
I think,
It's not a review.
I think 6, because it's a little ambiguous, it hasn't. The subcommittees have kind of formed, but haven't been able to make progress. Whether due to focusing on other items or so.
But still open, right?
Yeah, so open if the commission wants to explore what that means more.
Understood. Yeah.
For them.
8, 9, 10, and 11.
The 8, 9, 10 are ongoing items.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10 are sort of, like we said, they're not measurable, they fall under how as opposed to what.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, if we went and said we're gonna have 4
11
public
sounds like-
meetings, then it would be more measurable.
11 sounded as if it was
Some
close to being done.
Yeah, there was no recommendations for 11 from the subcommittee at the time.
Assume it's concluded then.
So you should probably take it off.
Yeah, they didn't recommend
If there's no
further action on it.
No recommendations, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So the ones that are, so then. 6. 8, 9, 10, 11. Are still open. Or non-deliverable.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think 8,
that's
8, 9, 10, they're
8,
always
9,
ongoing.
for sure, yeah.
yeah. We can choose to look at the 8, 9, 10 as
So the-
ongoing, or we can,
No reason to bring 11 across, right? That's concluded. We're not gonna research again, right?
Unless we want to, which I don't think it's necessary, unless anyone thinks it's necessary.
Sorry, John.
so to
11.
yeah, to
Oh,
make
yeah,
sure, are
6
you
then.
recommending 6 and 11 be taken off?
I'm recommending it, well, I'm just trying to find what the status is. 1 through 5 sounds like it's a recurring thing, so. Is 7 had the most progress, is that done?
It's not done.
It's still open.
Yeah, but it had, if we keep it, we have to form a subcommittee to pick up from where it was left
Yeah.
and continue.
That'd be a great one to keep, because I've played with that portal and it's great once you play with it. But I don't think a lot of people play with it or or know that it exists, yeah.
What I guess I was gonna suggest is that we maybe reword it in terms of what the deliverable is, what's the gap that's left over, what was done last year? I mean, what actually was done last year in terms of proving, what I think is usability, right? Was it,
I think,
this group redesigned the website? So
what
was actually, I guess,
yeah, so it's really to suggest improvements and make sure community is trained, with a plan to put together, put together, train the community so that more people know about it and come to it.
So,
Yeah.
And did they?
No, what we have done is put together a plan, or I should say, what the subcommittee did. Was put together a plan, and now,
So that plan is still available to us,
the plan would be available, yeah.
and so then.
Yeah,
Well,
should
we-
if we pick it up, it'll be available to us to continue on it.
So
Or
I'm saying
get
from
some
a plan point of view, then the deliverable is to execute that.
to continue working on that,
To
or,
continue working.
or, sort of continue, edit, start over.
if I may, the staff did add some slides to our public workshop that happens every June to help walk people through some ways to use the OpenGov portal, so that was
Oh, yeah,
an
those are
outcome
great.
that came from it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those, and that's kind of why I was thinking about strongly, because improvements were made. There was some training, people can access it. The only reason I think we included is if we want to keep making more improvements. Or if we think there's more
Well,
training.
there's.
It's to keep it, to consider it and decide whether to, or we can remove.
Do people
Yeah.
feel
I
it needs?
see there being potentially some interesting stuff there. I think that Anthropic is doing a partnership with OpenGov, which just starts to ask the question of like, how are people gonna access information about the world in the future? And we probably wanna keep up with that as like a city and a group, which would be an ongoing thing to be thinking about. I don't know if this commission wants to do that, but I feel like there's definitely progress being made separately in the world around how information gets shared. So I don't know if that is a reason to keep it on or let it be taken off, but.
Sounds like you're recommending we keep it.
I am recommending
We
that
consider keeping it.
I would imagine that there could be a transparency portal that exists in 12 months that may be
different
different
from-
and better than what exists today, if we wanted it to.
I mean, we certainly would have more influence on it if we keep it than if we don't. The OpenGov portal might change on its own as a result of Anthropic or other partnerships. If we keep it, we may have an influence on what it, where it is, or how it is consumed.
I guess if I look back at the commission role to support the delivery of timely, clear, and comprehensive reporting, probably I view that as like, keeping our Menlo Park reporting, kind of
More
like
accessible.
modern and accessible.
Mhm.
Seems like a good goal, and maybe a service that the commission,
Yeah.
could help provide.
I think there's something there, right? Also, it feels to me like finance and audit would be like somehow getting to the quants around the usage of it, like click counts, some measure of success around the site itself.
It's a possibility.
You know what I mean? It's like, is anybody measuring? How many people use the website, right? It's definitely measurable, right? It seems that we could provide, kind of from an auditing point of view.
How many people actually visited?
Visitors, click count, something is like simple usage, and then be positioned to say, look, these are where the world's going, this is how things are good, it gets better. I worry a little bit about the usability side, trying to figure out usability.
Yeah, so maybe in the spirit of like not sort of trying to determine what it could be, for a step back, maybe sounds like 7, there is an appetite to keep it, and 6 and 11, sounds like the discussion's trending around, we delete that. Yeah, maybe, should we keep 8, 9, 10 as a lower priority item, or?
Well, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just, how do we actually accomplish it, or how does the staff accomplish it? What is my question?
Yeah, I mean, that would be deliberated, if they do become part of the work plan.
Those seem like roles to me, that's like, why not just put those as bullet points up on the roll, commission roll? I mean, those all seem like deliverables to me. Right, they're not now, they can be.
Yeah.
And should be.
They sound like liberals to me, as in, like, for instance. I don't know if it's been the case historically, but there's been a struggle to fill openings on the commission. That is something
That
that we
is
should
crusade.
take on, to say we have to go and help.
Yeah.
When there is an opening, we don't just leave it to staff, or we don't just leave it to. Something that's deliverable for us to go and fill it, so
I can see that. I can see
think
this. I can-
it's good if we choose to track ourselves and check it. Which I think is fine to try and do, it's okay.
Sure, well,
Okay, maybe. Should we talk a little bit about if we have ideas of what you wanna add? And not adding anything is also A-okay.
yes.
I've noticed with some of the other commissions, they, um. Kind of serve the role of looking at the various things happening in the city through a lens of whatever their commission is about. So like the Complete Streets Commission will look at a, development project through the lens of, complete streets and traffic. The Environmental Quality Commission will look at, a thing through the lens of environmental impact. I wonder, is part of our role to help look at things happening in the city through a lens of, like fiscal status? So I think when I go to, for example, a city council meeting and hear about a development project or something, there's often like sections that will talk about traffic and things like that, and I can conceptualize it. But I feel like there's not usually sections that are like, and here's the bottom line on the fiscal status. Is that, this might not even be right, but it feels like that would make us fit alongside the other commissions if we thought about our role in that capacity.
I would just go, we just go back
Yeah,
back
the
a
role.
slide
Yeah.
to the actual roles of the commission. So these are the normal defined roles that have been outlined in this.
It's the previous one. You wanna go back to the previous slide? right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that one right there. So those are the four
Yeah.
specific areas that the commission's been charged with.
Yeah, it's a little bit of inverse. It's really taking the city's finance and letting the community know about it. As opposed to the other commissions, which are seeing what's in the community. And, potentially looking at it through the lens. Doesn't mean that we can't change, propose changing it. But, the rationale for the commission is really to make sure that the city's operating fiscally responsibly and transparently.
Right, it's more of a report out commission.
It's more of a, yeah,
Support delivery of timely, clear and comprehensive reporting.
So if I made the,
and also look at the structural aspects and this, it makes sense as, as a representative of the community.
Well, I can see in light of our roles and commissions, it's like, okay, we can. What's the reporting? We post it on the website. Great. But do we actually have robust public comment on, so what, how do we know that people are actually reading our report?
Interestingly, yeah, I mean, that's sort of in some ways, like to me, we just tied item 8 as something that is needed for a role to be successful.
I would agree.
if I may, I see the commission's roles related to this as these meetings are opportunities for commissioners to take a deep dive and ask questions. Many of the items that come before the council for numbers 1 through 5 are reviewed very quickly, and they don't necessarily get the public discussion unless the council has questions or unless the public comments on them. Where this commission has that ability to ask questions and have that more robust conversation on topics. We can take a deeper dive in this setting versus the city council, which has just limited time, which is why they created the boards and commissions.
Thank you for that.
This is what I would suggest. Um. You know, it seems like, if we want to, if you want to, it looks like we want to keep 7, 8, 9, 10, we are keeping and put, and we want to consider sort of making them actionable and do some work on some of them. Given the size of the commission and the amount of work it takes to get this done, I'd suggest let's simply remove 6 and 11. And not add anything else. And, work and see how we can make progress on 7 through 10 beyond the 1 through 5.
Okay, then, because as far as I'm concerned, 6 and 11 should be part of number 1 anyways.
Yeah.
The city's investment policy, but that's me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good suggestion.
Or maybe at this point, it's, the process, would you state the motion? Adrian, is that the right?
Yes, we can just
State.
take a look, make sure I've got to kind of coalesce the discussion of the commission, so under this new proposed work plan with the changes that the commission discussed, it would look something like this, with 6 removed, 11 removed, keeping 1 through 5 and keeping 7 through 10 as what we would recommend to the city council.
The only question I have is. As we talked about, sorry. We charge primarily to support delivery, timely, clear, and comprehensive reporting. Was that sufficient for you? Want to make sure the public is aware of it, provides feedback, or
Would you-
post something on the side of the building all you want to, and it's clear,
So in terms of a work plan, do you think item 8 captures the intent of it, or would you like to reword it? It seems most aligned with what you said. And maybe even number 9.
think about it.
It sounds like it's item number 7. I know the portal is a very specific way to access the information, but to your point, put on the side of the building, that's not the way to engage it. But the way they would engage it would be through some kind of online forum. So there's improvements to the portal, so it'd be kind of covered through that. That's a subcommittee to look at. How do we keep improving it so more people get access to the information? That's it's covered.
DPT. Encouraging
What to get back?
Encouraging and facilitating robust public comment is an important part of transparency and accountability. But the commission's main role, ensuring timely, clear, and comprehensive reporting, requires more than just public input. It also involves reviewing financial reports, requesting additional information, making recommendations to the council, helping communicate financial information in ways the public can understand. Talks about outreach and education. Host occasional budget finance one-on-one sessions to help residents understand the city's fiscal reports. Hey, I'm just throwing, I'm spitballing here, so. I'm Open to ideas. Advisory working groups, feedback groups.
So. Do I have a motion and a second for the stated motion?
I second. Well, I'd like to motion, actually.
I'll second. Yeah. Lots of numbers. Thank you.
All right, so. Have a motion to recommend a 2025-2026 work plan to the city council with items 6 and 11 removed as shown here on the screen. And all in favor? And the motion passes unanimously.
So wrong question, it's not related to that. When in the year do the annual things happen? It makes sense of calendar, I guess. But when is the audit and
So the audit generally brought forward December, January-ish, somewhere around there. That's when you'll see the independent auditor's report as well as the annual comprehensive financial report. With the independent audit report, there's also a March report that's generally issued, so depending on when everything gets issued, you might see some of those reports in March timeframe instead of, or March, April timeframe instead of December, January. Quarterly reports we do and reach at every quarterly meeting. We have prior periods quarterly performance report. The scope and process for the audit for the year, that's usually done generally annually, but just an overall review with the auditors. And so they join in one of the meetings and kind of give an overview of what they did, what they were looking at as they went through their audit process. Again, that's done in that same time frame, that kind of December, January-ish. And then the annual review of the investment report. Just did that.
Just in August. Yeah.
Yeah, in August, at the August, so just barely did that, so we'll bring that up again next year around the same time.
okay, that's cool.
Okay, are there any subcommittee reports since the last time we met?
Are there are no active subcommittees or mine? Are there any active?
There aren't any active subcommittees at this time.
Yeah, not really. We will, once the work plan is approved by the city council, we'll bring that back and as part of the receipt of the approved work plan, we can kind of look at what we get back from them and make any decisions about around forming subcommittees at that time.
And just for the commission's awareness, these subcommittee reports, we always have this on the agenda. And that's just for you all to update the full commission on any work that was done on the topics that you were tackling, which can be done verbally. You could bring something in writing. It's up to you.
Yes, so we kind of have that as a standing item on the agenda so that there's a opportunity to share something if there is anything from a subcommittee that they would like to share with the group, because otherwise we would have to come back at a future meeting to have an agenda item to specifically discuss a subcommittee report or topic.
Could I make a request? It's sort of tangential. So for that open gov, the work that was done, you mentioned there was a report. Could we circulate that to the groups that when we come back to the next meeting, assuming it's still on there and approved by council, we can think about, so we get a chance to look at it beforehand. Yeah, if there was a report or something.
We may have got something in writing. We certainly can look back to when it was verbally presented and provide the commission with that presentation.
I can go look. I think I also got an email, the documents and timing. In the first half of the year, I think. Were you CC'd in the email? I don't recall, but I'm not sure if it's
look-
appropriate,
Yeah, I can look at my.
appropriate for me to share,
If
like,
you-
under the Robert's rules and.
Yeah, so if you have, if this goes for any commissioner, if there's, a bit, like a, you know, like a subcommittee report, for example, that you would like the broader commission to see, you can send that to me and then I can,
Okay.
take care of circulating it without running afoul of
Okay.
the Brown Act.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go look for that and I'll send it to you.
That'd be perfect.
Okay. And, you know, if you could also, look at the presentation.
Absolutely.
Very fast. Okay, on to the next informational items. So in this section, the city staff provides updates on matters that are of importance or relevant to the commission. They're not necessarily action items, but a commissioner, city staff member, or any member of the public can request to make a comment or ask any question on any of the informational items.
So this evening, we don't have any informational items. As a special meeting, those are generally single topic agendas. At our regular meetings, the prior commission asked staff to put together updates on the city's grants. So we do present that in a table format to the commission under informational items. Grants don't tend to change that quickly, but it's just something that the commission wanted, and so that's why it's there. It can be pulled for discussion, but there's not automatically discussion on that item. So you'll be seeing that on our next regular agenda on October 16th. And then the commission might choose to take a different direction from the prior commission. We'll just follow your direction.
Thank you. And Adrian, do we have any public comment?
If you would like to provide a public comment on tonight's informational items, if you are logged in virtually, please engage the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen. If you are dialing in from a cell phone or from a landline, please press *9. And if you're in person, please complete a speaker card and return that to me. And I'm seeing no request for public comment.
Okay. I think our next regular meetings are in about a month from now, and then in next year. I don't recall having any special meetings in between that we know of currently.
We would certainly try to avoid doing that during the holidays, but sometimes, occasionally, a topic might come up that we need the commission to review before it goes to council, but we don't anticipate any in those months.
So unless there's any other comments, I'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.